Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Gavin Richard Presents. I'm Gavin Richard. I just want to do a quick follow up. Last week, I did a video. Wait, first off, let me start over. Okay, I hope everybody's doing good. That's what I always like to ask. Everybody's doing great. I've had a busy day. I've been back and forth to courthouses today from Baton Rouge to New Orleans and filing different motions and arguing before the court, divorce settlements and, criminal matters. So I handle all of that stuff. So I've just been real busy filing things, here in New Orleans and so forth. So I've been back and forth. Hope everybody's had a good day. We're in the hump day, so the weekend is almost here. Gosh, it's just going by so fast, which is, I guess, it's a good thing, sort of. The week going by fast. So anyway, I just want to do a very quick follow-up to the legal lynching of Bill Cosby. And more specifically, I want to tie it to what's going on today. I don't know if you all heard the news, but according to YC News, Gloria Allred, your favorite witch, is back in the news. Apparently, this time she's going after Chris Brown. If you read the article on YC News here, and I have it posted, it states that Gloria Allred filed suit on Chris Brown, alleging woman was kidnapped, forced to go to hardcore party before being raped. Now, it's interesting as I read through this article, and I will post the link to it. I can share it a little bit. Let me see if I can try. I'm going to save it. I'm going to see if I can, it's on my phone. I'm going to see if I can share it with you through the website. But Gloria Allred filed this lawsuit on behalf of her client. What's interesting is she does not name the client. The client is a Jane Doe. Now, if you're accused in a criminal matter of Auburn is going to be the victim in the case, you have a right to confront that victim or that accuser. And I noticed this lawsuit, and you can go look at it in the court documents. The individual is a Jane Doe. Now, who is this person that is suing Chris Brown and Lowell Grissom Jr.? These are the two defendants. They also have Doe X, an individual, and Doe's 1. Who are these individuals that you accuse of raping this woman? It's like the floodgates, guys, have opened up. Let me just read the part of what the lawsuit alleges, and what Allred states in her statement. This is why we have filed this case today, alleging sexual battery, gender violence, a violation of Ralph's Civil Rights Act, battery, assault, interference with the exercise of civil rights, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and negligence. Okay, she states here, at the house, Chris Brown provided alcohol and illicit drugs to his guests, and or the guests consumed drugs that they carried onto the premises. Plaintiff believes that the drugs Brown provided to his guests or that were bought by his guests were or included cocaine, Molly, and marijuana. Allred continues, when her mother lost contact with her, she allegedly used software to track her daughter's phone, which led her to Chris Brown's home. When she arrived, Brown refused to open the gate and denied the police access onto his property. Brown also ordered Grissom and others to hide a duffel bag filled with guns. When plaintiff saw that Brown was defiant to even the police, plaintiff became even more afraid. Allred tells us, after the police left, Brown allegedly started handing out drugs. Her client was needed. Now, she calls it, she states that hardcore partying was going on, and it took place at Chris Brown's home. But you have to ask yourselves, number one, how did she even get invited into Chris Brown's home to begin with? And second of all, who are the witnesses? Who is alleging all of the stuff that went on that she's alleging in her lawsuit. You see, you can sue anybody for anything. You know, you have all of these men from Russell Simmons to, Kevin Spacey, Richard Dreyfuss, the Senator Al Franken, you had Roy Moore, the judge. You hadn't, regardless of the Republican, Democrat, whatever, or his political viewpoints, I don't really care for them. But all of these women that just come out randomly, just like with the Cosby situation, can come out and allege something 20, 30, 40 years ago. And based off of an accusation, your career can be over with no proof. This is a civil lawsuit she's filed. Notice it's not criminal. And it says here, she was forced to go to Chris Brown's home because she perceived that she would only be able to retrieve her phone there. Now, what? I don't understand that for the life of me. She says her client arrived at the studio. Her phone was taken away from her. She was told that Brown did not want anyone to have their phones in the studio. All red tells YC. So how did she even get in the studio to begin with? We don't even know that. But this message, guys, is especially for the fellas, that you need to be very careful with who and what you mess with. Because even if you're all innocent and having fun, in this day and age, your career can be over with like that. Wait, good luck. Excuse me, guys, just 1 second. Doing a live stream. How you doing? Wait, I'm on. Sorry. It's okay. Yeah, I'm doing all right. Yeah, you gotta keep quiet. I'm doing a live stream right now. Please. Thank you. Sorry, guys. Yeah, where was I? Well, yeah, what I was saying is that you never know exactly what's going to happen to you when you're a celebrity and you invite a group of girls over with. And we don't even know if this story even happened. But I noticed that she's claiming that she was raped and sexually assaulted. You know, Chris Brown has not been indicted on any criminal charges. You know, there's been nothing to show as to his guilt or innocence. All of this is alleged in a civil lawsuit, meaning there are monetary damages that are involved. And I'm going to post this link right now that I have it up here. Just give me 1 second, guys. Guys, I'm doing a live stream. They can hear everything you say. I'm almost done. Just 1 second, guys. Hold on. Let's see. Just look at Gloria Allred. She looks like the devil incarnate. And says here, plaintiff sat in a room near the dinner kitchen, isolating herself from other guests and partiers, hoping that Brown and the other partiers would leave her alone. I don't even understand this, so anybody can say anything. Here, it's in the top chat. Let's put that out. There we go. That's the actual link to the article. Let's see. We got another one here. So all of this stuff that's going on in the world, and I'm tying it to the Bill Cosby case. It sounds, even though we don't know the facts of this, it sounds very similar how these girls will go to these parties by uh, these famous men. They'll go there. There's drugs, there's sex, there's alcohol, there's all these things combined. And they go there and then they get to complain about it later on. Now, I don't know the accusations and I'm not all familiar with what happened, but I saw Gloria Allred basically, gloating on Daytime Emmy Awards about getting Bill Cosby. Let's see. I don't have any more. The next article I wanted to show you, and since we're speaking about parties, is about a guy named Fatty Arbuckle. Now, this has been going on since wild sex parties and so forth have been going on since the day of time, and in particular in Hollywood, they're very common. But Fatty Arbuckle, for who we're dealing with today, his name was Roscoe Arbuckle. He was a silent movie star in the 19 teens and 20s, and one of the highest paid actors in Hollywood. He signed an exclusive contract with Paramount Pictures for $1 million, which was the equivalent of $14 million in 2017. It's a lot of money back then. And he, back in 1921, 1922, was accused of raping and murder, or it was a manslaughter charge of a young woman, an actress. Her name was Virginia Rapp. Now, what's interesting about this case was that she went to this party that Fatty Arbuckle was throwing in his suite, and was at the St. Francis Hotel in San Francisco. And apparently she suffered a trauma. She died on September 9th, a few days after this party that Roscoe Arbuckle threw. And she died from a ruptured bladder and secondary peritonitis. So there had been numerous versions of what happened that night. They said that she had died from a sexual assault at the hands of Arbuckle, meaning he raped her. Some had said she had been suffering from cystitis, and that consuming alcohol could aggravate the condition. Other witnesses testified she had previously suffered from venereal disease. Well, Fatty Arbuckle, long story short, was on trial. He actually had 3 trials in that matter. So during those 3 trials, Fatty was dealing with, had a manslaughter charge. He had 3 separate cases. 2 of them went into what we call trials. In the 3rd trial, he was acquitted. And after the acquittal, what was interesting is that the jury had actually gave an unprecedented statement of apology to Fatty Arbuckle in court. Nevertheless, during his trial, and even up to his acquittal, his reputation took a great hit. He lost his job. He lost his wife. His wife divorced him. He was vilified throughout the American public, and that had a great deal to do with the mainstream media. You had what we called yellow journalism, where there was just sensationalism that was tied to that case. And you see that even with this Cosby scandal, what he was going through, even before the trial even commenced, people were calling him guilty in the national media. Judge Greg Mathis even talked about how there were a lot of presumption networks. While he didn't specifically defend Dr. Cosby, he said he deserved the benefit of the doubt. But people do not give you the benefit of doubt. You sure as hell don't get it when you're a black man accused of harming a white woman. He didn't get that. So I said I wasn't going to be long. I've gone into it it's about 15 minutes. I'm not going to be much further. I was trying to just do this brief, but I got interrupted right there. But yeah, you had William Randolph Hearst. He had a nationwide newspaper and he exploited the situation. I'm reading from the Wikipedia article. If you go under scandal, it says right here, Arbuckle's trial, was a major media event. William Randolph Hearst, he was an American newspaper businessman. He was a newspaper publisher and a politician, and his media company was Hearst Communications. And he used methods of flamboyant yellow journalism. And it states here, Arbuckle's trial was a major media event. William Randolph Hearst's national newspaper chain exploited the situation with exaggerated and sensationalized stories. The story was fueled by yellow journalism, with the newspapers portraying him being Fatty Arbuckle, as a gross lesher who used his weight to overpower innocent girls. Hearst was gratified by the profits he accrued during the Arbuckle scandal, and later said that it sold more newspapers than any event since the sinking of the Lusitania. That was the ship in the Spanish-American War. I'm sorry, I'm saying Spanish-American War. It was in the First World War, I'm sorry. Okay, so getting back to what I was saying, I'm looking up the Lusitania. We're all getting off course. Yeah. Morality groups called for Arbuckle to be sentenced to death. The resulting scandal destroyed Arbuckle's career and his personal life. Arbuckle, who was regarded by those who knew him closely as a good-natured man who was shy with women. He has been described as the most chaste man in pictures. However, studio executives, fearing negative publicity by association, ordered Arbuckle's industry friends and fellow actors whose careers they controlled not to publicly speak up for him. Charlie Chaplin, who was in Britain at the time, and Charlie Chaplin basically built Hollywood with his movies. He actually co-founded United Artists with Douglas Fairbanks, D.W. Griffin. He was the racist that made the picture Birth of a Nation. And Douglas Fairbanks' wife, it escapes me right now, excuse me. I know it's not important, but I'm just trying to figure it out. Hold on one second. Mary Pickford, that was her. Yeah, she founded United Artists. Okay. And Charlie Chaplin had his issues as well with young girls, but you're not going to hear that. And of course, he's not going to be, his career is not going to take a hit. They're not going to take his statues now in, I believe, have them in Paris, and there's statues of him in Switzerland. I know he lived out there, but they're not going to do that. But you know why. Okay. But Charlie Chaplin, who was in Britain at the time, told reporters that he could not and would not believe Roscoe Arbuckle had anything to do with Virginia Rap's death. However, having known Arbuckle since they both worked at Keystone in 1914, Chaplin knew Roscoe to be a genial, easygoing type who would not harm a fly. Buster Keaton reportedly did make one public statement in support of Arbuckle's innocence, which earned him a mild reprimand from the studio where he worked. Film actor William S. Hart, who had never met or worked with Arbuckle, made a number of damaging public statements in which he presumed that Arbuckle was guilty. Judd Apatow. Arbuckle later wrote a premise for a film parodying Hart as a thief, bully, and a wife beater, which Keaton purchased from him. The following year, in 1922, Keaton co-wrote, directed, and starred in The Frozen North resulting film, and as a result, Hart refused to speak to Keaton for for many years. So you have some similar uh, circumstances here when you think of the Bill Cosby lynching and his situation. Fatty Arbuckle obviously went through the same thing. Of course, the same thing that, almost the same thing that Cosby is going through. You see some similar facts and circumstances. You go to these parties and you have drugs and sex, and girls are there, and I don't know exactly if there was drugs there, but it was one of those big wild parties that they have. Something happens, and because you're the big star, everybody's gonna blame you. Just like what happened with Tupac. Tupac was convicted for sexual battery, which he wasn't a rape charge, but basically touching a woman inappropriately, even though he says he didn't do anything. And it was really the other friends that he was with that did something. They just went and grabbed Tupac because Tupac was the star. So, and this case, as I stated earlier, was the only one that was inside the statute of limitations, that being with Cosby and Andrea Constand. So this is a lot to look at if you guys should take your time and read about Fatty Arbuckle and Virginia rape. Rap, excuse me, I'm saying rape, but it's R-A-P-P-E. I'll just R-A-P-P-E, so I'll say rap. Yeah. And you see the part where they said how studio executives ordered industry friends of Arbuckle as Arbuckles and fellow actors not to say anything publicly in his defense or say anything in his innocence. They punished him. And you see that even with Black Hollywood. Black Hollywood, with the Cosby situation, I couldn't think of any Black actors, directors that said anything about Bill Cosby while this trial was going on. Nobody said anything. Not Sidney Poitier, not Harry Belafonte, not even Spike Lee. Spike Lee we know Spike loves to talk. Oprah Winfrey, the queen of media. Or is she not really the queen? Is there someone controlling her? Because Oprah didn't say anything. Tyler Perry never said anything. All of these people, the only one you can say that's really spoke is Sinbad and Eddie Griffin. And those are guys who are not, I love both of them, but they're not going to get the multi-million-dollar movie deal anymore. I remember when Sinbad was hot in the 90s. I remember Eddie Griffin when he was hot and had HBO specials dropping like that. He had a Showtime special recently, which was fire. I enjoyed watching his comedy greatly. Joe Torre was someone that spoke in defense of Cosby in this case. So, but the guys in media, even Tom Joyner, who's Bill Cosby's frat brother, he didn't even say anything. He actually said, well, he did say something. He actually said Bill Cosby should take a plea deal. These are frat brothers. They didn't say anything, and he didn't even show up to the trial as a media personality. You would think Tom Joyner, Steve Harvey, and that's another frat brother, although he did kind of defend Bill a little bit, but he didn't really say too much. Even Michael Baisden, all of those cats should have been out there. I know D.L. Hughley probably wouldn't, his mind was made up. All those guys should have been out there at least to get the story and hear for themselves what was going on. So in conclusion, that Black media, Black press, Black Hollywood is not there. They are not there for you. Personalities do we have that aren't tied to the mainstream? You can find some here on the internet, like Brother Ron Hurd, would we all be? Shout out to him. Shout out to Nicole's View. She's a follower and a subscriber. Shout out to both of them. Tariq Nasheed, he's one. Forgot the brother True Advise, Brother Phil. Yeah, he's another one. I like him. MS Superboy. There are a few. Professor Black Truth. Yeah, they got a few out there. But when you're working for mainstream media, and my point is this, when you work for a network like NBC or CBS, ABC, Fox, you got to do what they tell you to do. CNN, you got to do what they tell you to do. Because Whoopi Goldberg was defending Bill Cosby when she was on The View. But what happened after she did that? The studio execs came there and said, no, Whoopi, you can't do that at all. And Whoopi changed her tune. You know, Whoopi she needs that check to keep those braids in her hair and to keep the lips black. And she need the money to keep fucking with them white men. Yeah, Whoopi. Yeah, Whoopi actually, she has a lot of tough questions. I saw her defend. I didn't see her. I saw her years ago. She defended Roman Polanski, I believe, and Mel Gibson. So she's, you know, like Tariq Nasheed has called her out. I remember when she had that thing with Ted Danson at the Friars Club roast, where she had Ted Danson, her boyfriend at the time, in blackface, and she defended him. You know, they were cooning it up. But Whoopi can be real when she wants to be. But I'm not trying to mess over her. And I saw a headline she was defending Kanye, but that's another story. But to get to just basically my point, especially to young brothers, you know, we don't have black media and press. All we got is each other, you know. So keep that in mind when we talk bad about each other. Keep it in mind now in the world we live in the Me Too movement, how dangerous these lynch mobs can be. And you see now that if we're going to get the story, we got to get the story out here through channels like YouTube. And I know there's some black social networks that they're trying to create or that are out there. People are not dealing with Facebook too much, but excuse me, get through social media. You know, those things are that's the best way to get these stories out in the message. And check out YC News. They're actually pretty good. You know, they seem to be more balanced and fair than what you get out of CBS or NBC or ABC or Fox or CNN. They try to stay neutral and they call things the way they were. They were actually in the trial recording and transcribing what the defense attorneys were asking, you know, the witnesses in this case. And they brought it up a lot of things and points. You know, a lot of contradictions that were made in the witnesses' testimony that I don't even know if the jury even considered. But I'm about to go, guys, but read the article on Fatty Arbuckle. I have the Gloria Allred piece right there. Another thing I have here too, I'm gonna put this article up. Brother Fajon Love. He's and I gotta talk about Fajon. Fajon actually from day one has been supporting Dr. Cosby. He even called Hannibal Buress a house nigga. You know, he described what happened with Dr. Cosby was just a lynching, like everybody else believes. He says no difference than the actual quote right here I'm looking at. He says, well, America, you finally got what you wanted, a blackface for rape. This is truly a effed up day. At Bill Cosby, you should have ran for president. Do you know the difference between Emmett Till's case and Bill Cosby case? Not one goddamn thing. He's also continued to tweet this. He said about black men accused of sexual abuse. Fajon tweeted that when Michael Jackson was found not guilty of child molestation in 2005, they killed him. You niggas deserve everything these crackers got for your ignorant asses. Love tweeted. You think they shooting niggas and kicking them out of coffee houses now? Shit. And you had some people that were not happy with what he tweeted, but, you know, Fajon Love didn't care. And even some people weren't happy with what he tweeted. One person said that, you know, she feels the second trial was not fair to Cosby, and many shared that opinion. But you you way out of pocket with this one. But Fajon Love didn't care. And Camille Cosby said the same thing. She compared it with Emmett Till, and she also was comparing it to other cases of false accusations of rape that happened. I believe brother David Wyatt, who was only recently exonerated. And you also had another story where two brothers, these two black men, were exonerated from a rape that happened in 1992, I believe. So those things do happen. So it had been 25 years that those men were in jail and they were exonerated. I'm going to do another video, guys. You'll see in the future. I'm going to be dropping about some other stuff too. Wendell, I'm going to be talking about, well, you'll just see. Just be on the lookout for it. I won't tell you now. But yeah, I'm going to put this article up. Manhattan DA exonerates two men wrongly convicted of rape in 1992. Manhattan District Attorney Cy Vance announced that the decades-old rape convictions of two men were vacated today. As a result of the sorry guys, long day. Innocence Project and Office of the Appellate Defender. They found that the DNA found on the victim did not match either man. I'm trying to see who these two brothers' names were. I don't have it here. Their names are Perry and Counts. Van Dyke Perry and Gregory Counts. Okay, that's their names. Yeah, congratulations to them, but too little, too late. Well, Mr. Perry was released in 2001, and Counts was released just in August of 2017. They suffered a great deal, guys, and I see this every day in the courtroom. Just imagine the people, the black kids, the black men, young black men who don't have money to hire a Tom Mesereau and Johnny Cochran to represent them. They would have still gotten this treatment. Johnny Cochran could have risen from the dead and teamed with Tom Mesereau to make another dream team with Catherine Bliss, and they still would have found him guilty. That's just my opinion. But anyway, this is gonna go live, and this is live, but this will be on Facebook. I have the articles in the top chat. You guys should take a look at them. Love you all. Be blessed. Be safe. Have a wonderful week. Until then, see you for the weekend. Peace.